right, everybody, welcome to The Percussioner. I'm here today with a really special guest. This is a good friend of mine named Jauvon Gilliam. And Jauvon is the principal timpanist of the National Symphony in Washington, D.C. And we're just going to talk to Jauvon a little bit about his experience with the rudiments, and he's going to show us the single stroke roll, which is probably the most relevant rudiment to the timpani. And yeah, let's just go. Jauvon, how you doing?
Hey, man, it's always great to check in with you, buddy. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, look, I'm just interested, as I've been trying to say through this whole program about rudiments, is that rudiments are a good function of getting your hands moving and sort of teaching you that coordination and learning how to use them musically. So I'm just interested in your experience with the rudiments and maybe a little bit about how you think rudiments translate to the timpani.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are plenty of rudiments out there, the 26 basic ones. And I think given the timpani is sort of a specialty instrument, there's one rudiment that translates the easiest to timpani, and that's the single stroke roll. The timpani being the largest sort of vibrating membrane in the percussion family, aside from the bass drum, but it's the largest pitched membrane. Like it's a unique sort of skill set that you have to have. And one of the most important things that you have to remember when playing timpani is you want to make sure that the instrument resonates. My approach to the timpani is I want the drum to do the work for me. So I want the drums to actually, sing out in the hall. And so for me, hitting the drum in the right place and pretty much as less as possible is what allows the drum to sort of sing and have that open sort of sound. And that really comes into play when it comes to like roll speeds for me. I won't go too much in the details, but for timpani players, we use single strokes to roll because again, like I say, we want the drum to vibrate. Snare drummers or mallet players, lots of times we use double strokes or multiple bounces or triple strokes or some sort of combination of those to make the snare drum resonate, because the snare drum is so dry. There's basically no resonance. You have to hit the drum several more times in order to get it to resonate. But for timpani, it's not the same. It's the exact opposite. And so what I like to do is I like to employ a loose grip, a sort of loose stroke, and you do that a few times as possible on the drum, and that creates sort of the openness of the ideal roll sound, which I'm looking for, which obviously plays a single stroke.
Yeah, great. Look, I completely agree. I think the single stroke is something that we all do. It's sort of like the inherent warm-up is a good single stroke exercise. Do you warm up with a single stroke roll when you're getting ready to play?
In some ways I do. Yeah, for me, my basic warm-up is usually, I still double use my weak hand twice as much as I do in my strong hand when I warm up. So for me, warm-ups, here we go, I'll show you guys real quick. For me, my warm-up is a group of 8s on my strong hand, which is my right hand, and then 16 on my weak hand. And then double stops to make sure that I'm playing everything, that my hands are doing the exact same thing at the same time, because even hands are paid hands, especially in timpani. You want to make sure that you have them even. So I'll do 8, 16, and then 8. 8, 16, double stops, 8. Over and over and over and over and over, right? Just to make sure that I'm warming up to make sure my hands get sort of warm. And I'll do it at that speed. I'll do it a little faster. Sometimes if I do it a little slower, it's because I'm having very loud notes to play that day. So I'll sometimes do a little slower to get the bigger muscle groups moving. But that's basically the warm up that I've been doing since we met, man. Since we met back in college.
Yeah, fantastic. Even hands or paid hands. I like that. Hey, look, just as an example, the other thing I want to communicate to everybody is that not all hands... Whoa, did it get dark there? You just got to clap on, man. You got to do the clap on. Yeah, just demonstrating to people that like not all hands look the same, and that the essence of playing is about a relaxed stroke and an even stroke. And if you wouldn't mind just maybe from slow to fast running down a little single stroke roll, and when you're finished, I'm going to take all of our listeners and viewers through a new exercise that you can use to help develop your single stroke rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll reiterate what Eric said. Loose grip for sure. You definitely want to have a tight grip, especially on the back ends of the sticks. For timpani, what that's going to do is it's going to sort of stop the sound right at your fulcrum, which is, again, not going to allow the drum to open up and do its job and do the work for you. So you have a loose grip, a consistent grip, and as long as you make sure that both of your hands are doing the same thing, and you work up your speed, and that's how you create sort of an even single stroke roll. So here we go.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, thanks for that, Jauvon. You're the man. Always great to see you. And we're going to just crack right into this exercise. Okay, great. We're back in the studio now. That was so awesome to talk to Jauvon, to see how the single stroke roll is applicable to his life as a timpanist. And really great to see his warm-up. Interesting that he works his left hand twice as much as his right. A really smart idea, right? We all know that we've got a weak hand. It's always good to work it a little bit more. And also the use of double strokes. What a great way to really single in and make sure your hands are even, make sure they're hitting at the exact same time, make sure they feel like they're moving up and down. And I do one other thing, I'm sure Jauvon does it as well, and that I am always playing in front of a mirror when I'm warming up. Here in the studio, I have this little tiny mirror that fits on a music stand. Look, there you are. And I've drawn 2 lines across it just to intersect it, give me a little bit of a visual reference to see, you know, are my hands coming to the same height? Are they moving in the same direction? Eliminating big circles, these sorts of things. It's just a really great way to have that visual reference. Sometimes you might actually catch all your pinkies out, right? Sometimes you might see that. And that's something you might not notice unless you actually see it happening. So I really encourage you to get a mirror to practice in front of, and it will help sort of give you a reference to make your hands even. Now let's just jump straight into this advanced exercise, right? This advanced alternating exercise for the single stroke roll. It's similar in structure to the introduction to the single stroke roll in that we will isolate the right hand and then bring in the left hand for alternating. And then when we finish that, we're already on to our left hand lead to isolate that left hand, coming back in with the right hand for alternating. The difference here are there are 2 differences, I should say. The difference, we're gonna do a countdown. We're gonna go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then a count back up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're also gonna set the metronome up really interesting, all right? We're gonna set that metronome up for a half note, because when we're doing these advanced warm-ups, not only do we want to get our hands going, we want to get our brains going, and we want to try to figure out how we can start playing with the time and make sure that our time is super solid and we're not just warming up mindlessly. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, music's going to run along the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to start with half note equals 55. 1, 2, ready and go, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 'Fantastic. You may notice as well, I've set up the beats to give that extra click on one out of every 4 beats. And if you do it right, when you get back to the 8s, you should line up with that downbeat on the 1, okay? Great. Let's move that up a little bit. We're going to move to 65. Just focus on keeping everything smooth and even. Here's 65. Half note equals 65. 1, 2, 3, and to go, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Very nice. Focusing on that transition from 8ths to 16th notes being precise right from the get-go. We talked about it in a cymbal video we did recently, that transition from that double time transition, making sure that particularly the first 1, 2, 3, 4 notes are bang on and not digga, 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 not waiting for those other notes for it to settle in. Really settling right from the get-go. Let's go ahead and move this up. This is half note equals 75. 1, 2, 3, and go. And 'Very nice, very nice. Keeping things smooth and even. As we go faster, what do we say? Sticks get lower. Always bringing your sticks lower the faster we go. All right? We're going to move this up to 85. I will encourage you to take this beyond this. Take this as fast as you can go, but I also want to say smooth and control, right? That is the essence of percussion. I find that too often the measure of someone's talent is how fast they can play. And I promise you that there are very, very few, if any, drummers, percussionists in the world making a living because they play fast. Truly. People can play because their hands are even. As Jauvon said, even hands are paid hands. And also because they've got control and it's smooth and it feels good. So make that your focus. All right, here is half note equals 85. Let's see how we go. 1, 2, here we go. Very nice, everyone. That's a fun exercise. As I said, push it as far as you can go. Send me a message. Let me know how you do. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you later. See ya.